So the Royal Mint are a bunch of rip-off merchants. Is that really true? Does that really stack up? That is what This Is Money have said in their latest article. Gold coin buyers face a Royal Mint rip-off with coins costing almost twice their face value. A commemorative 2019 sovereign, produced by the Royal Mint, owned by Her Majesty's Treasury, is on sale for £450, but on the bullion market, a sovereign sells for £240. The latest coin is a proof, which means it's been struck with a highly polished die, it has sharper mirror-like surfaces than other sovereigns, and has never been in circulation. Although this can excite coin collectors, numismatists, it is unlikely to add any value for investors who just see it as bullion. The fancy packaging, a walnut veneer box for the coin to sit in plus a certificate of authenticity, is also mainly for looks and adds no value. Similar presentation boxes can easily be bought for £20 from auctions on eBay. Okay. Tender, thereby exempting investors from capital gains tax on any gains. As investment grade gold, there's no VAT to pay. It has a nominal value of £1 and a weight of 0.235 troy ounces of gold, so its true value is much higher. A troy ounce is slightly heavier than a traditional ounce, the coin's 22 carats being 22 parts gold and 2 parts copper. The alloy is used to toughen up the metal so it's hard to damage. Lawrence Sinclair, head of bullion at auction house Spink, says, "I like trading gold, and I do not care if it sits in a pretty box. I might buy a gold sovereign off you for £230, then sell it for just under £240. It's only worth its gold value unless it's a particularly collectible piece. What the coin comes in is of no investment interest to bullion dealers." Sinclair adds, "If I could read the future for gold coin prices, I would not be talking to you, but enjoying life on a luxury yacht." Yet sovereigns will always be worth something no matter what happens, unlike some shares or cryptocurrencies. He concedes that on rare occasions proof sovereigns surprise the market by being worth more than their intrinsic value. For example, an unusual proof from 2017 with a special Jordan the Dragon design to commemorate the 200th anniversary of the modern sovereign coins can now sell for more than £800 if in pristine condition. Another highly sought after proof is a 1989 sovereign to mark the 500th anniversary of earlier minted sovereigns for King Henry VII in 1489. These coins can change hands for more than £1,000. So, the earliest historic sovereigns stopped being minted in 1604. They were bigger and heavier than the present coin and a more pure 23 carat gold. These are historic pieces and not beholden to the price of the gold market costing about £10,000 each. Jim Brown, a numismatist from auction house DNW, said there's something about gold coins that make people think they're a great investment. This is not necessarily so. New car for £10,000 and a few years later it's worth £5,000. No one is surprised, yet the same could happen with gold coins. Brown understands the need for the Royal Mint to put a high price tag on its proof coins, as he has production and marketing costs to cover. He says purchases are often driven by emotion. For example, grandparents might want to buy a coin made in the year of a grandchild's birth and pay extra for a fancy display case. They should not confuse these with buying a shrewd investment. Brown warns against being pressurized into a purchase by clever advertising. Instead, he suggests anyone interested in buying should contact the British Numismatic Trade Association. Okay, Chris Barker, research manager at Royal Mint, he says proof gold coins are struck to the highest standard and are works of art. Do not simply contact a bullion trader if you want to sell, but use a coin specialist and they may offer you more. Is this article fair? New gold sovereigns cost twice as much from the Royal Mint as bullion. I remember once when I was taught marketing, everybody was taught about the 4Ps: product, price, place and promotion, and that a product is not necessarily the intrinsic product, but it can be a product in the wider sense of being a product. A Royal Mint collector coin marketed with a limited mintage and a lovely presentation box and a COA and an expensive, beautiful finish is not necessarily the same product as a bullion sovereign. And I think this article, This Is Money, is being very disingenuous with the truth. Certainly anyone buying gold as a metal for investment should buy bullion gold at the very lowest margin and focus just on that. Focus on getting gold as close to spot as possible. Most collectors are something more than this, and they're looking not just at the intrinsic metal, but they are looking at the design, the art value, the mintage, the quality and reputation of the mint. Maybe they might be looking at the flipping opportunity. They might be looking at whether it's possible to leverage buying something and selling it short term and making a small amount of money on that trade. They're looking at all of the attributes of that product, which are, I suppose, in a way contrived by the mint and the market in order to create an opportunity for collectors to buy certain items. Are those items an investment? That's a tough one, isn't it, really? I mean, if you'd have bought a 2014 full sovereign from the mint, probably you might be looking at a little bit less now, 4 or 5 years later, than you paid for it from the Royal Mint. If you were looking at a 2017 sovereign, which they talked about in that article, you'd probably be looking at anything up to a £400 profit for that item. A strike on the day, mint price £550, maybe market price £800 to £900. But that sentiment is to some extent fashion, and collecting coins as opposed to investing in coins and investing in metal and bullion is something that should only be done with a proportion of somebody's money or net worth, and it's not something which should be undertaken lightly. It's not something which should be undertaken without a lot of research, and it's a little bit like picking stocks as opposed to investing in exchange traded funds. You know, if you lack experience and you feel you aren't a good judge of what will be an upper and what will be down, then buy metal. But even if you buy metal, it's susceptible to exchange rates and sentiment in a massive way. I don't know what the answer is, but I do know that this particular article is full of not necessarily inaccuracies, but it creates news where actually common sense needs to prevail, and there is no news. And this article is pretty much a non-entity of an article that can be pretty easily dismissed, and unfortunately may mislead certain people into thinking the Royal Mint is a rip-off company, and that is absolutely not the case. They are producing bullion coins in their bullion division. They're producing collector coins in their collector's coin division. Two completely different markets at two completely different price points, and there are costs that they have. If you're a spot bullion dealer, you might be buying for 2% under spot, and you might be selling for, if you're lucky, 3% over spot. You've got a margin of 5%. You're not having to design the item. You're not having to pay for the production of it. You're not having to make the box, print the COA, pay for the marketing and distribution channels. You know, the Royal Mint produce a quality product. Sometimes they get it right, sometimes they get it wrong, but I can't in any way see that they are a rip-off organisation. That's all from me, and hopefully this video will spur you guys to get talkative and make comments as well.